to this new podcast series where I'm going to be meeting up with friends that I've met over the last 25 years or so in my career in education and asking them what they think makes a thriving school. In a moment, I'm going to introduce you to Helen Pike from Magdalen College School in Oxford. But before I do, let me just tell you a little bit more about what this is about. So I'm going to be asking Helen and my other friends that I'm meeting a little bit about their work, their life. But the idea is that we'll build up a library of ideas and examples of what makes a thriving school. That's the plan over the series. Just a quick few words about me. So my name is Russell. I'm the chair. I've got to get this right. The founder and chairman of RS Academics. And we work with schools in the UK, but all around the world in a number of different areas. And through that work, I've been very lucky to meet lots of really interesting people, principals and heads of school, bursars, business directors, owners, governors, other advisors, marketing directors, and so on. And it's going to be across that wide range of people that I'm going to be drawing for these conversations. So today, Helen, you're even more famous this week than last week. So thank you very much for making time. Congratulations. You've just been awarded, is it the best head of a public school in the UK? Is that right? The Tatler thing?
Thank you. Yes.
So I think I'm meant to ask you, how do you feel about that? How does it make you feel?
Thank you. Yeah, it's been unexpectedly lovely, actually. Yeah, thank you.
And tell us about the event. When was the ceremony and what happened?
There was an awards ceremony on Monday night. It was a really strong shortlist, and yeah. Yes, it's an award that belongs to everybody at MCS. So it's it's a really good start to the week. Thank you.
Great. Well, congratulations. And as I say, I feel we've known each other a little bit for a while, but it's great that I should be interviewing you in the week that you've got the award. And you were saying that something I haven't quite picked up, but there are other schools in Oxfordshire that did well in the same awards. Is that right?
Yes, that was interesting. Radley was School of the Year and St Hugh's the Prep School of the Year. So I was feeling as though quite a bit of London energy was crystallising in Oxfordshire, actually, and that's been a trend for quite a few years. But it was a real statement, I think, that there was so much strength on the podium for Oxfordshire on Monday night.
Great. Well, look, thank you very much for joining me today. We're going to have a wide-ranging conversation, I'm sure. But let's just start with you telling. I mean, I do know your school. I've been to it a couple of times. But for those who don't know your school, can you just say a little bit about it? And I think I want to get your job title right. But are you the master?
I am.
You are the master. So I don't know if that's an interesting title, perhaps as well. But anyway, tell us about your school.
Well, there's a bit of history there. So Magdalen College School was founded in 1480, originally as a song school. And in order to make sure that Latin and Greek was taught in the university, there's a big revolution in the university. So we were founded to be innovative, and we were founded as a gift to the city. And that's what we still are. These days, we are about 960 pupils from 7 to 18, boys 7 to 16, and then we have girls in the sixth form too.
And you say, what was the innovation back in the late 15th century then?
The innovation was humanism. The innovation was getting rid of the Dark Ages and making sure that people could access Latin and Greek texts. That's why we were a grammar school originally.
Okay. So let's get straight to it, because I'm sure it'll take us in lots of interesting places. So tell me, if I think I referred to this idea of building a library of ideas that that together might comprise almost the ingredients of a thriving school. So what would be the ingredient you'd want to put into that library, if I can put it that way?
You want to have a school that sings.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, we were founded as a song school.
Yeah.
Something that came to me actually through a number of conversations and spending many years trying to think about what makes MCS so lovable and so special, and why the kids are so attached to the place, why they find it so hard to leave, what they remember when they come back. And some of that is in the DNA of our foundation. Every time I walk into the cloisters across the bridge and into the original building, looking at where we were before we moved and grew, there is a door that says Song School, and that's us, that's in our DNA. So every single pupil in the school sings, and it's in chapel in what we now call Big School, 4 times a week, every morning. And the whole school congregates and they watch the school grow. And this plays out in all sorts of other ways, you know, in our 8 choirs, our staff choir, our
Wow.
parent choir. We're setting up something called Sing Oxford to make sure that all the choirs are massed and connected and people know how to join choirs. You know, this is really what we do. So it's partly that, but a parent asked me an open afternoon, you know, what should I be looking at? When I go to other schools, what should I ask the head? And this person had heard me talk, and I thought, you know, I'm not going to say the exam results and all the rest of it. And I said, ask them how much your son will sing if he goes there. And there was a lot of people giving each other the side eye. But actually, the more I thought about it, the more I thought, yeah, do you know what? That is something that we should really be focusing on in schools. Make sure your school sings, not just metaphorically, also literally.
Because I don't think I've ever heard of a song school. I've heard of a choir school, or a cathedral school, but a song school. I mean, it's a great name, and I hadn't realised just how that tradition, let's call it the choir tradition, actually
Absolutely. It's
is a
what it
tradition
is.
for everybody to have a good sing.
That's right, we're a choir school. That's what our
Yeah,
foundation is based on. We're
yeah,
educating choristers and we're educating young intellectuals for the university.
fantastic. Do you sing yourself?
I
No, I'm not gonna. I'm
no,
not going to put you on the spot.
you're
Do you
not. You're
enjoy
right.
singing yourself?
Um,
Are you
well, I
musical?
do. I love it, and not that anybody would actually want to listen to it, but
Okay,
yeah, I mean, it's something that you have to do here. You lead from the front.
yeah, great.
But every single,
Um,
sorry, go on.
no, I was just no, no, please carry on.
No, I was just going to say every single pupil does it, so it's important that the staff are seen to do it too. Every pupil gets on stage for house singing, and performs in addition to the communal singing. So it's a brilliant confidence builder. It really is.
Yeah, I can see that, and also really strongly, and you described it really beautifully. I think the sense of oneness and community, and um, there's something very special about that. I think. Are there other things you do to create that sense of community, belonging to each other and belonging to Magdalen College School? Are there other things you sort of like traditions or?
We have lots of traditions. We do try to wear them lightly. It is quite a quirky place. But
Right.
many of them are around participation. Obviously we're a very selective school, but there are certain areas in which we have a broader range of ability. Sport is one and music is another. We've
Yeah.
got about 200 pupils a year sitting music exams. You know, I had 6 people who got diplomas last year. I mean, so there's very high level specialist music, and there's 3 enormous orchestras. But having said that, we're also keen to create experiences that nobody will forget. The whole school went up to Birmingham Symphony Hall in March to sing for the coronation, and we took about 600 parents and members of the wider community with us. Massive orchestra on the stage, huge massed choir, and the whole school also in the so-called audience, but of course they're all performing, and all our broader community visitors all singing together. I mean, people were in tears. So many people have said that they'll just remember it for the rest of their lives. We were rehearsing for it before we went, and people were saying, this is a bit out there. They're singing I Was Glad and all the rest of it. And then on the day, it was just transcendental. And these sorts of experiences are incredible. So we do them like that, but we're doing them in other ways. You can do them through drama. We're really focused on that horrible word oracy, but it's such an important thing, but building that kind of physical confidence in voice and body is just invaluable, particularly for teenage boys. So we're thinking about what they're going to be doing for the rest of their lives, in terms of how they're going to carry themselves and how they're going to experience joy. We talk about joy a lot.
Yeah, it's amazing. I think, well, I'm not the first person to say it, but there is a resurgence of singing. I think people in the last maybe 10 years or so have recognized that it's good for mental and physical health and sense of community. And I've just while I was listening to you, I had a flashback to my very close friend. His name is VJ, he lives in Australia, and for his 50th birthday a couple of years ago, there were a whole bunch of us. staying in a big house together, and we all sang a song. We all learned to sing a song because he loved his idea. That was what he wanted for his birthday. Was all his close friends and family to sing together.
Amazing.
I just realised that it's just come back to me. So amazing. Can I ask you something about tradition? Because I think that you don't want traditions, obviously, that are harmful or damaging to anyone. But I think a lot of schools have stopped their traditions, and I think it's a shame because I do think, picking up on something you said, Helen, it is what kind of binds you together. It's what you remember. I don't know if you have a view on that. It's not really a question as such, but I just think that traditions, there should be more traditions. There should be more unusual, quirky things that are unique to your institution, right?
I couldn't agree more.
Okay.
Because as a historian, we know all about the invention of tradition. The Victorians were really good at this. A lot of things that we think of medieval traditions were, invented between the 1830s and the 1850s. And it's the same in schools too. But yeah, I mean, tartan's an invented tradition. So yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I think it's really important for schools. I hear what you're saying about, traditions around, less favourable behaviours, hazing, etc. And I think the schools have been really alive to that. But gentle traditions, traditions where pupils take charge, and those sorts of services, ceremonies, those sorts of things.
Yeah.
Our leavers service mirrors what happens when pupils arrive at the school.
Tell me about that. I don't know
It's
about
rites of
what is.
passage. Well, they arrive at the school, and there's a really lovely service in college, in chapel, and I shake their hand as they come out of the west doors, and I
Right.
don't do that again until they leave. So I shake their hand
Wow.
at the
Okay.
stairs, and then it's Mary of the Virgin, and it's all part of that kind of herodity and ring composition. It's a rite of passage for them. So those sorts of things are really important. Some of the hymns that we sing are
Yeah.
interesting as well. Thinking about that, and some of those things transcend religion. Obviously, for some pupils, they are
Mm.
rooted in a religious tradition, and for others, they aren't. They're about the school tradition. I think there's quite a high level of theft of hymn books among the leavers, to which I turn a blind eye. But
Yeah. That's.
but I'm also
Yeah.
thinking about revising the hymn book, and having the kind of emotional energy to do that and to consult on it will be quite a special task, I think.
Mm.
Um,
Is there a favourite hymn, would you say, in your school for the boys and indeed the girls in the sixth form?
well, there are various ones, and it's interesting. They have
Okay.
their views, and they know the proper names for the hymns. The ones in capitals on the top left. They know this.
Okay.
There are some big favourites, and again, they're to do with what's in. Some of them are the obvious ones, such as Singing Jerusalem, which they all love,
Yeah.
and some of them are to do with things which are sung at they know will be sung at their leavers ceremony, those sorts of things. So
Oh, yes.
there's a sense of that foreshadowing, and we talk quite a bit about that.
Mm.
But it's powerful, that sense of growing up through a school, understanding that very physical connectedness to other pupils. It makes them a bit kinder as well.
Mm. Now, there's one tradition, if I can call it that, that I mentioned to you at the start of this, and that we haven't kind of addressed. So I don't know if this would be the last part of our conversation or not, but you're called master.
Ah,
Does
yes.
now can I mean there will be some people that think that's wrong. There'll be some people that think it's just odd, and there'll be some people that couldn't care less. Where are you on that spectrum?
I was keen to keep the title because it's named on the college statutes. So in the original foundation, there is a master and an usher. And the master did the teaching, and the usher, my deputy, ushered the boys into the schoolroom in order to hear their lessons from me. So it means it's very important that I teach, because that is actually my job. And it's very important that he marshals everyone, because that's his. So these are named on the foundation, and it means that when we attend college events, as as original foundation people, and I was a foundation governor for our brother school, MCS Brackley, until very recently.
Mm.
We take that really seriously. I also didn't really want to just come in and say, I'm a woman, change this around me, because I think the title comes from the Latin, it's magister, it's to do with being a teacher, it just means teacher. It's not to do with
Okay.
sex at all. So,
Right.
I was keen just to keep that. And for many people in the school who were just used to saying morning master on their way in, I didn't want them to have to think about it.
Right. All right. Well, I'm glad we've addressed that because I'm sure some people will have a strong opinion. Helen, it's really lovely to see you again. I think we may bump into each other at the HMC conference next week. That'd be nice if we do.
Yes,
And
sure.
congratulations again on your well-deserved award. That's wonderful.
That's very kind,
Thank
and
you very much.
thank you for asking me to do this. It's fun.
Pleasure.